Wake up, lock in, move forward. This is Men's Morning Motivation. Let's get to it.
And welcome back. This is Men's Morning Motivation. This is episode 18, The Power of Consistency. And welcome back, gentlemen. If you've been with us throughout Discipline Week, episodes 13, 14, and 15, you know that discipline is the bedrock of every successful habit. It's the force that allows you to push through the chaos and stay focused on your goals even when motivation feels absent. This week, we're taking that discipline and drilling down even deeper. We're talking about consistency, the quiet but powerful engine that fuels every aspect of success. Let's break this down. So, you've put in the work, you've built some discipline. Now it's time to make it last. If you've been sticking to the framework we laid out last week in Discipline Week, you've already made your first strides. But without consistency, those changes won't last long. Consistency isn't flashy. It doesn't get the likes or the attention. It's a daily grind that you might not always notice in the moment, but over time, it adds up in a massive way. It's the small actions that compound and set the stage for long-term success. The athlete who trains every day, no matter how tired they are, no matter how sore. The entrepreneur who puts in the work after hours when everyone else is clocking out. And the person that eats clean every single day, even whenever junk food is easily accessible and calling their name. Consistency isn't about those big moments. It's about showing up over and over and over again. If you've been putting in the work with discipline, then consistency is the next piece of the puzzle. Let's be clear about what consistency really means. It's not perfection. You're not aiming for a flawless record. You're aiming for resilience, the ability to get back on track quickly after you stumble. Because you will stumble. Everyone does. Real consistency is about your response to failure. Do you let one missed workout turn into a week off? Or do you get right back to it the next day? That's the difference between those who achieve lasting results and those who simply cycle through the same goals year after year. Now, let's revisit something we talked about in Discipline Week. Motivation isn't the answer. If you're waiting for the motivation to strike before you do something, you'll be waiting forever. It's a fleeting emotion, here one day and simply gone the next. And as we saw in episode 13, relying on motivation is a setup for failure. Motivation is unreliable. Instead, you need discipline, the muscle that gets you to show up on the days you'd rather skip it. Discipline is what gets you out of bed, what keeps you on track. And then, consistency is the habit you forge when discipline becomes second nature. Without consistency, you're at the mercy of your fleeting moods. You won't make progress because you're not showing up enough to see real results. But when you lock into a rhythm and get consistent, that momentum starts to build. Think about it this way. How many times have you started something? A diet, a workout plan, a reading habit, with incredible enthusiasm, only to abandon it 2 weeks later? That's the motivation trap. You start when you feel good, but you stop when that feeling fades. Here's what's happening psychologically. When you start something new, your brain releases dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. You're excited, you're energized. But that initial surge doesn't last. And when it fades, you're left with a choice. Push through with discipline or simply give up and quit. This is where the consistency mindset changes everything. When you expect and plan for those low motivation days, you're prepared to push through them. You've built the systems that carry you forward even when your emotions are telling you to quit. If you've taken the challenge from Discipline Week and started small, you're already seeing the benefits. Every action, every day is a building block in your foundation. It doesn't matter if it's just 10 minutes of exercise or reading a single page in a book. Small actions compounded over time will lead to massive results. And just like we discussed in episode 14, the power of consistency doesn't lie in one giant leap forward. It lies in small steps in repeated effort. Think of it like this: every small action you take is like planting a seed. You will not see that tree grow immediately, but every day you water that seed, it begins to take root. And over time, you look back and realize you've created a forest. So ask yourself, what actions have you committed to consistently? What seeds are you planting? I just want to break down the math of consistency for you. Let's say you want to get in shape and you commit to just 15 minutes of exercise per day. 15 minutes for 7 days is 105 minutes per week. 105 minutes for 52 weeks is 5,460 minutes per year. That turns out to be 91 hours of exercise in a year. What can you accomplish with 91 hours of focused effort? A lot. That's the equivalent of running approximately 9 marathons, all from just 15 minutes a day. Or let's say you want to read more: 10 pages a day for every day of the year, 365 days, is 3,650 pages per year. The average book is around 300 pages. That's 12 books per year, more than most Americans read in a decade. Here's the thing: these aren't dramatic daily commitments. They're small, manageable actions that, when done consistently, create extraordinary results. Here's the thing: we've already covered how crucial consistency is, but let's talk about why so many people struggle with it. The easiest answer, and the most obvious answer, is they expect results far too soon. They look for immediate validation and quit when they don't see any instant progress. They don't track their efforts, so they can't even begin to recognize the incremental gains that they're making. They're still relying on motivation, not understanding that consistency doesn't come from feeling good, it comes from making the choice even when you don't feel like it. In Discipline Week, we talked about the importance of creating systems. Well, consistency is what makes these systems work. If you haven't already, I challenge you to set up a system that holds you accountable and make your habits automatic. Because when consistency becomes a habit, it's no longer about how you feel in the moment, it's about who you are becoming. You are becoming someone who shows up every single day. Let me share with you the three biggest consistency killers I've observed over my own personal years. We have the all or nothing mindset. This is when you think, if I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. You miss one workout, so you skip the entire week. You eat one unhealthy meal, so you abandon your nutrition plan completely. This mindset destroys consistency faster than anything else. We have overly ambitious goals. When you start to set goals that are too large or too challenging from the start, you're setting yourself up for burnout and failure. The key to consistency is starting small, small enough that you can maintain it even on your worst day. And we have the lack of accountability. When no one knows about your goals, when no one is checking in on your progress, it becomes way too easy to just let yourself off the hook. External accountability, whether it's a friend, a coach, or even a public commitment, dramatically increases your chances of staying consistent. Combat these consistency killers, and you're already ahead of 95% of people who just want to try to change their habits. If you followed along with us throughout the past weeks, especially in Discipline Week, you've probably already seen the value in tracking your actions. This is where the rubber hits the road. If you're tracking your habits, tracking your progress, then you can see the improvement even when it feels small. And when you see progress, you're motivated to keep going. Don't just track for the sake of it, track to build awareness of how every small action is really adding up. If you've been disciplined enough to track your actions every day this week, you've already taken a huge step forward. Let me show you how to level up your tracking system. First, we have to decide what metrics really matter. Don't track everything, track what moves the needle. If you're trying to lose weight, maybe that's your daily calories and your weekly weigh ins. If you're building a business, maybe that's your revenue generating activities and customer interactions. Second, make tracking visual. Use a calendar, a habit tracking app, or even just a simple grid on a piece of paper where you can mark an X for each day you complete your habit. There is something psychologically powerful about seeing those X's line up day after day. You start to create a streak and you won't want to break it. Third, review your tracking regularly. Set a weekly review where you look at your consistency, celebrate what's working, and adjust what isn't. This isn't just about collecting data, it's about using that data to improve. And here's a pro tip: track your wins, not just your actions. At the end of each day, write down 3 wins, no matter how small. This trains your brain to look for progress rather than perfection, and it keeps you motivated during those plateaus when visible results become hard to see. When you start to commit to consistency, it turns out to be like a domino effect. One action simply leads to another. The momentum starts to build in all areas of your life. Consistency in your workouts lead to better energy, which fuels your productivity. Consistency in your work habits lead to more financial stability, which improves your overall life quality. Consistency in your relationships strengthens bonds and creates trust over time. Like we saw last week in Discipline Week, when you make a commitment to one area, that commitment will inevitably start bleeding into other areas of your life. And that's the magic of consistency. It simply starts to compound. So, just like we've done throughout Discipline Week, take a moment to reflect. Where are you already seeing the domino effect of your efforts? And what other areas of your life are improving because you're showing up with consistency? I want to take a moment to highlight something that often gets overlooked. Consistency doesn't just change your results, it changes your identity. When you show up day after day, you start to see yourself differently. You're no longer someone who's trying to work out more, you become an athlete. You're no longer someone who's trying to eat better, you're someone who prioritizes their health. This identity shift is powerful because it makes the consistent action automatic. It's no longer a question of, will I do this today? It becomes, this is who I am, so of course I'll do this today. That's when consistency truly becomes effortless, when it's aligned with who you believe yourself to be. Here's your challenge for today: pick one action you will commit to doing consistently for the next 30 days. You can't just commit to it in your mind, you have to write it down. You have to track it. If it's working out, commit to at least 30 minutes a day. If it's reading, commit to reading at least one chapter every day. And if it's writing, commit to writing at least 500 words each day. The goal here is to make the habit automatic, make it non negotiable. And at the end of these 30 days, come back and look at what you've built. I want to give you some practical advice to make this 30-day challenge successful. First, eliminate as much friction as possible. If you want to work out in the morning, sleep in your workout clothes. If you want to read more, keep the book on your pillow. Make the consistent action the path of least resistance. Second, pair your new habit with an already existing one. This is called habit stacking. If you already brush your teeth every night without fail, commit to reading right after that. The established habit becomes the trigger for the new one. Third, create a system for getting back on track when you slip, because simply you will slip. Have a rule, like never miss twice. One mistake is simply a mistake. 2 missed days is the start of a new habit. And finally, tell someone about your commitment. Send me a message on social media or tell a friend. Public accountability is a powerful motivator. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about consistency. It's about showing up day after day, especially when you don't feel like it. As we close out this episode and finish up Discipline Week, remember, consistency is the silent force that drives success. If you've been following along, you've already started to put in the work. Now it's time to commit to showing up no matter what. And when you show up consistently, you become unstoppable. And trust me, after weeks of building discipline, consistency will be your secret weapon. Stay committed, keep tracking, and keep pushing. Because in the long run, consistency is what turns the impossible into the inevitable. So, make a choice today. Keep showing up, keep being consistent, and let's keep this journey going. I want to leave you with this final thought. Success isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. It's not about how hard you can push yourself for one day. It's about what you can sustain day after day, week after week, and year after year. Remember, guys, the greatest achievements in history weren't accomplished in a single day. They were built through consistent effort over time. So, start small, but start today, and then show up again tomorrow, and the day after that, and the one after that. I'll be here showing up consistently for you, and I can't wait to hear about your wins, your progress, and how consistency is transforming your life. If you know me personally, let's have a chat about your favorite episode, what you're working on, what your goals are. I appreciate your time because time is the one resource that we cannot get back. So thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to me because we're really just getting started here. This is only episode 18, but I assure you, if you follow anything out of these guys and ladies, your life is going to get better. You're going to be more driven. You're going to look better, feel better, be more productive. And I know it's hard. It's something new, but this isn't something that we just try out. This is something we commit to. I'm committed to this as much as you guys are, putting these episodes out 3 days a week, burning the candles at both ends. But I love it. I love seeing all the changes that have been happening, even in my life. I've spoken to some of you guys personally. I see how passionate you are about it, and it just gives me hope for the future of men's morning motivation. I'm really excited to see where this goes next. So again, guys, thank you so much. If this hit home, don't keep it to yourself. Send it to a brother who needs to hear it. You can find Men's Morning Motivation on Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9:30 a.m. EST. So make sure you hit follow, subscribe, just do what you gotta do. I appreciate your time. Wake up, lock in, move forward. This is Men's Morning Motivation.